the recall of the sewer district recall election. It is 2:06. All right, yeah, 2:06 in the afternoon on July 28th, 2026. I'll turn it over to Amy Reeves, our elections administrator.
Mr. Chair, rest of the board. If I can turn it over to Connor, you took the lead on this this canvass or this election, so I think he's going to have all the information.
All right, so we have in front of us today the canvass for the 2026 Lincoln, Lewis, and Clark County Sewer District recall election. Certainly by far not the largest of our elections this year, but certainly an election that's still important nonetheless. So going through the canvass cover sheet here, you'll see that our number of registered voters, including inactive and active, but not including landowners, is 382. That's the number of voters registered with our office. We issued 333 ballots total, including residents and landowners. There were 6 landowners who requested a ballot from us, and we received all 6 of those ballots back, but that's me getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here. There were 327 ballots issued to residents. 177 of those ballots were sent out but not returned, and we received 156 back in various methods. 5 overall were rejected in some fashion. 2 of them were rejected for no year of birth. 1 was a signature that did not match, and 2 were returned late for the election. They came back the day after. All 5 of those folks were residents of the district, so they were registered voters with our office rather than landowners. And then there were 12 that were returned undeliverable, in which case we sent them a letter going, hey, by the way, your ballot was returned to us undeliverable. Hopefully that letter's chasing them down if it hasn't made it to them already, so that we can figure out what went wrong there, whether they changed their P.O. Box number up in Lincoln or if they've moved out of the district. That means, counting the 6 ballots from landowners, we had 139 ballots that were processed and accepted in ElectMT. So moving to the second half of our process, where we actually start separating those ballots out after verifying signatures and making sure that the affirmation envelope has the correct year of birth. There were 133 affirmation envelopes that we were able to reconcile in ElectMT. So these are our registered voters, and then the 6 landowners were reconciled, against their landowner paperwork that they provided with us prior to the mailing out of ballots. So that leaves us 139 total that we need to separate secrecy envelopes from affirmation envelopes for. Separating those out, we had 139 secrecy envelopes received for opening. Nobody returned a empty affirmation envelope. There were no ballots rejected because there were a wrong election or some other manner. So that left us with 139 ballots to count by hand. Going through the process, counted 139 of them. None were rejected for someone signing their ballot, for example. So therefore, all 139 were counted. There were none that were cast blank in their entirety. There were 2 questions on this election. The recall question for Director Gould and the recall question for Director Winters. There were, as you'll see in a moment, 4 undervotes on one question, but no undervotes on the other. So no ballot was entirely blank. 4 of them were halfway blank. Coming back to that sheet, though, there were 139 cast, 139 counted, bringing us just above 36% turnout. all kinds of fun. We'll go to the next sheet here. This is ballot statistics by ballot styles. So this is the breakdown of each ballot type, ballot status in elect MT. So the I is issued, the NR is not returned, P is pending. Pending should always be 0 because otherwise we screwed up. I can't remember what RE is off the top of my head, but A is accepted, R is rejected. The void, thank you. We didn't have to void any on this one because Lincoln is remarkably stable with its voter registration, and then 12 undeliverables. So you can see where those numbers match across to our canvas cover sheet. Then into the meat and potatoes of it all, the cover tally sheet, which you have copies of. These act as the result for the election. So on July 21st, 2026, this is what our hand count tally came up to. For the question of should Eric Gould, director of the Lincoln, Lewis, and Clark County Sewer District, be recalled, there were 88 votes for the recall, 47 votes against the recall, 0 overvotes, and 4 undervotes. Those 4 people chose not to make a selection on this particular question. And then for the second question on the ballot, should Mike Winters, director of the Lincoln, Lewis, and Clark County Sewer District, be recalled, there were 83 voters for, 56 voters against, and no overvotes or undervotes for that particular question. And I have the original tally sheets here if you'd like to review them. We ended up counting these in 2 batches. The first batch was the majority of what was returned, and then there were 9 ballots up in Lincoln at a drop box at the school district office up there that we had to wait for drop off with our office after the 8 p.m. cutoff for the election. So that is viewable if you would like. Otherwise, happy to answer any more questions.
Any questions?
Who is left on the board, the Lewis and Clark County Sewer District board?
We are left with 3 people on the board. There are 5 members total. Sandra Winters, who was just elected at the May election, is the current chair. Nathan Winch was also elected at the recent spring election, and then Susan Gehring, whose term is up in 2028.
Okay, so they still have a majority,
They still have a majority
where
on,
they can act on
and
paying the bills or whatever.
Commissioner Payne, to kind of further, I suspect you're thinking a little bit about the vacancies that trigger after. So with a sewer district, whenever there is a vacancy, it is up to the sewer district board to fill those vacancies rather than the county commissioners, like a fire district, for example. So they do still have a quorum. I actually have an appointment to call the chair after our meeting here to go through, hey, this is the statute you're looking at for the board appointing any vacancies. This is the statute that showed what happens after a recall election is successful. So adding those 2 things together in the legalese map means that you guys get to appoint your 2 vacancies. And just let us know afterwards who's on the board. So if someone comes asking, we can give them the answer.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions? I did not do a roll call to identify who was here. Maybe we should just do that just for that. Just make sure it's very clear and get it on the record. We've got Commissioner Andy Hunthausen, Commissioner Candace Payne, Commissioner Tom Rolfe. We've got Connor Fitzpatrick, and we've got Amy Reeves here for the meeting, and Nadine McCartney is keeping track of everything. All right.
That's right over here.
We appreciate your.
Yes.
All right. All right. Is there what the next thing would be to accept the results as presented?
Mr. Chair, that is one of the options that could be motioned for moving forward. Otherwise, the other option is other options, plural, is the committee can choose to review the ballots if they'd like. I'd have to go downstairs and grab them out of our vault, but happy to do so if that's what you'd like. And then also we could also be charged with a recount, or further questions could be asked.
All right. I'll ask one more time for questions. Seeing none, is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? I see no public comment. So do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I would move that we accept the canvass results, the election results, and certified candidates here.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing no discussion, ask for it. We will move to a vote. All those in favor of accepting the results as presented by Connor Fitzpatrick, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Something for you there.
All right. Is there any public comment on any other matter that might come before this board? And board.
Right.
Seeing none, we're adjourned.
Now
That was.